messages. All right. Well. We back again live in the counselor's corner, but tonight the segment is cocktail conversations compared to Monday night when it's open conversations. Have my man Herb on my side tonight, and we're gonna break down a scenario. Yeah, scenario, drama. But hey, isn't this what this world is about in this day and age? Everything is drama. Coronavirus is drama. This whole pandemic thing was drama. The election was drama. Sports is drama. Everything is drama. So why not talk about personal situations that happen, day-to-day situations that happen, and despite if people say, "Oh, it's always seems so negative," or whatever. Who the hell want to talk about perfect situations? Who the hell want to? You wouldn't have drama. You wouldn't have nothing to gossip about if stuff was always perfect. So we're gonna look at a situation tonight with my man Gary. Boy, oh boy, family meant everything to Gary, but Gary had a lot of shit with him. So we're gonna talk about that. So first, I'm gonna read the scenario, and then I'll bring Herb in, and then we'll just tackle this issue. And I don't know how long we're gonna be on tonight. I mean, because you know me, I'm a sports junkie, basketball junkie, and the Brooklyn Nets play the Lakers tonight. Granted,
Uh,
granted, KD ain't playing, but still, it's an important game. So, good evening, Latoya. So let me read this scenario. Family means everything. Gary shared to Maria about his newborn baby. Recently, 4 years ago, Gary stepped out on Maria and got someone else pregnant, but later found out the child was not his. There you go. Stepping out, talking big stuff like you got a child, and find out the child wasn't yours. His ultimate goal is for Maria to accept his newborn and they get back together. Maria does not want to go down that road, so she told him congrats and that she wished him the best. Mm. Men don't like that. Don't be short and quick with me. Well, I'm gonna just say all because we know it's no absolutes. Some men don't give a damn, but many men don't like for you to be short with them. Good evening, Ebony. Thanks for joining me tonight in the counselor's corner with the cocktail conversation segment. All right, let me stay focused because I said last week, yeah, because we had Carlos on here, and I said Herb and Carlos had ADHD. So let me stay focused so y'all won't think like, what? Yeah, stay focused, David. uh, so Maria does not want to go down that road, and she told him congrats and that she wished him the best. Gary has been blowing up Maria's phone and sending crazy texts saying he wants a family with Maria, and family is everything. Maria was alarmed, so she contacted Gary's mother. Mm-mm-mm. You know, men don't like when you put their mother in their business without them telling their mother about their business, because you know Mom Duke's gonna call you. What's going on? I could just hear my mother's voice if she listened to that. What's going on, David? Whatever. So that was a violation and everything. Malia was alarmed, so she contacted Gary's mother to say he finally has that child that he's been waiting on. And she has her 3-year-old daughter, Angel, and she is happy, so there's no need for her to deal with Gary. Angel, when Maria first had Angel, Gary shrugged the situation off as if he did not want anything to do with Angel. Yeah, you know, sometimes us guys, whatever, you step out, do what you want to do, and then you still like the woman, and then she, you know, y'all not apart, and she ends up going on with her life. Now she has a child, and you don't want nothing to do with the child. Maria finally sent Terry a text and said that it was never meant to be, and she was happy for him and his daughter and wished them all the best. And please stop texting her. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, because sometimes guys also feel like, shit, I was the apple of your eye before. What do you mean stop texting you, whatever? Before you couldn't, when I could never text you enough that you would get used to it. And all of a sudden now, stop texting you. Gary caught back in tears, very angry, and said, I am glad the damn church is working for you. And you are a freaking hypocrite. You know what he really said. Because he has always been there for Maria and Angel. So all of a sudden, suddenly now, I don't know. He must have had a slip up in his emotions, because prior to that, it was saying that he didn't want anything to do with Angel. But in his eyes, he had always been there for them. Maria tried to be nice as she could, but Gary was not having it. What should Maria do about Gary? So, see, Gary needs to have several seats with himself. That's what Latoya said. So, we're going to address that situation, and we're going to talk primarily about how sometimes men have a difficult time with breakups. Women do too, but we're going to focus on men having difficult times. As we can see, Gary wasn't having it. Gary wanted a family. Gary fucked up, and he realized Maria probably was the one for him. So he ended up, during a little time, it seemed like stuff was off and on with them. And then once he finally had his child, he thought like, okay, I'm really not into this woman that I had the child with, but probably I'm going to need someone to be a good, not saying that the person he had the child with would be a bad mother figure, but I guess he figured like, when I have her, then it's going to be easy for me to be over with Maria and I'm Angel, and we're going to be a big family. Because remember, family means everything to Gary. So we're going to tackle that situation. But I'm going to bring Herb in. What's good, brother? How you doing tonight, man?
It's another Thursday, man. I get to take a little bit of load off and sit here and regale these stories with my man. See how we can address the male psyche in all of its splendor. Uh, this one is kind of funny because I've known some guys to deal in this particular type of tomfoolery, shall we put it nicely. And although it seems like it should be, a clean incision and suture to move on, for some guys it's not that easy. So um, I I think how men process and deal with certain emotions is out of sync with what women would do. And I think and I'm going to allude to what Latoya said when she said have several seats. The problem becomes how a lot of men were reared. So if they weren't taught how to deal with certain things properly, they won't understand how to deal with things properly. And I know that sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, so let me explain what it is.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, like, how do you deal with that properly? Unless, I mean, your mother probably would give you a certain version of it, but then your dad may give you a different version, or your granddad, or something like that. So I guess you have to have like kind of a balance, because some people have a predominantly female oriented family, so you always gonna get like, boy, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do right by her. Those are the messages that I used to always get. But my grandfather would say his thing, but I really knew that really my grandmother perspective probably was more solid than his, because his thing was about working, having money, having a vehicle, and never depending on a woman. So that was his strong message that he always delivered. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, and to that's what you're going to get. You're going to get two different versions of how to deal with a situation. One, of course, is from the female perspective, which is a nurturing perspective, and the other is from a male perspective, which is to be free. And it's a clash of ideologies. And if you don't have a balance, and what I mean by balance is a healthy balance on when to engage in both actions, because a man specifically, more so than a woman, needs both actions to feel fulfilled. And I know that doesn't make any sense to women, and I'll explain why in a moment. Man's true essence in a masculine form is to be unrestrained so he can go out and produce. And it's not until he gets to a certain aspect of, or a certain point in life or a certain aspect of what he needs to do that he focuses. This is why they say the ideal age for a man to start settling down and building a family is in his early 30s. Because by then he has gotten out of the immature woman chasing phase to the point where he's actually in his career, or he's working in a solid job, has been for years, and he's moving towards building something so he can bring in a woman and create a family that gives him the foundation to pass on the information and the wisdom that he's learned. Now, if Gary has come from a broken home, or a home where the parenting isn't stable, he's going to get a lot of information, and depending on when he gets that information, is going to really determine what he does and the type of actions that he engages in. So let's say you take an individual who has a mother and father in a home, and he sees the ebbs and flows of a relationship. He sees the downside, he sees the upside, and he sees how that gap is bridged. He then has an effective foundation on how to deal with his emotions and the range of emotions that come along with relationships, so he's in a better place mentally to engage his emotions. So when he's in a better place to engage his emotions, he can make a better decision. Now, let's take another man who isn't in a stable family, to where he's only being fed one side of a situation, or one perspective on how to deal with the situation. He's going to lean heavily on that because that's what has gotten him to the point where he is now. It's the old adage, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But how do you know if something is broken when you've already operated in that realm and it has gotten you to where you are? It's the old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it isn't until you get to a point where you ask yourself, you say, okay, I want a different outcome. So if I want a different outcome, I have to do something different. And that's when the light clicks on for a lot of guys. They've already ran the gambit of negative emotions. So they say, okay, this isn't working. And they switch and they start engaging another aspect of emotions, which are the positive emotions. And then they say, okay, you know what? If I had done that sooner, I would be further along in my process of whatever it is that I want to achieve in life. And I think that's what we see with Gary. And a lot of guys go through that, and people label it as immaturity, when in actuality it's just a lack of education.
Well, one of the things I want to say is also for some guys, sometimes we don't have the proper outlet to talk to. You know, I guess the ultimate goal is when you think about friendships, and it's almost like you have to almost try to build a team with friends and have balanced people, like, okay, I know this person is good for this, I know this person is good for that. Because, like, if you're in a situation and you're a guy that was hurt in a situation, and you go to your friends, which one of them friends is going to be able to grab you by your shoulder and say, yo, man, you're going to be all right, man. Like, yo, I'm going to help you through this. I know you struggling with it. I know you care for her, but we got to move forward. Or is they going to say, man, go ahead with all that shit, man. She ain't shit. Man, good acting, man up and all that stuff. So, again, I've posted stuff the last couple of days talking about, the different outlets and how men they're not always have that ability to release and let those emotions out. And most of the time, those issues is festered into anger. So then they become mad at the female, and she becomes every bee and every hoe and all of this. But secretly, deep down inside, this is the person that he wants to be with. He wants to be with her. Just my take.
I'm gonna address a few comments, and this is gonna come across harsh, and I wanted to. Latoya, I'll make sure I find the comment. I'm sorry, Tiffany. Never did I ever suggest that men are not nurturing. You didn't hear that term come out of my mouth. So where you got that from, I do not know. What I did say is men aren't given the chance to run the gamut of emotions. Men don't start there first. That's a female trait. And you're processing what I'm saying through your female lens. I said that there's going to be a balance, and depending on where that man learns it from is what he's going to rely on most until he hits a roadblock, and then he's going to transition to another set of behavior. That's true for men and for women. It has nothing to do with nature and nurture. It's what you learn. And I've always said that. Never will you have to hear me say that men aren't nurturing, because I know that not to be true. And the few men argument only reinforces the point that I made. It's the old adage of the exception proves the rule. You don't find men crying before they act. That's usually reserved for females first. It's not to say that men don't cry, but that's not the emotion they run through first. Anger is generally the emotion that men will run to first, just as David displayed in his response. Depending on the guy and depending on how that guy was reared, will dictate what he gravitates to first. It's amazing to me, man, that people don't understand how men think, and they think they have the corner market on masculine response because they know a few guys that react this way. It only reinforces the point.
Well, one of the things is when y'all say, well, females behave that way too. We know that. But we're talking about Gary and his situation.
Yeah.
We know that these situations intertwine, that the female could do the same thing. So we already know that. We're talking about a male specifically. So we should stop looking at gender based, like, well, females do that too. Yeah, females, y'all got a lot of rotten ass friends, just like males have. The difference between females rotten ass friends, that it be more personal, that the shit go on forever. Like guys can separate and go their separate ways, and then it's just that. I don't mess with them no more. Y'all just keep it going. Not all, because I know that this is how we have to talk in this day and age, because nobody knows how to kind of figure out, like, I know he's not talking about all, because he always talks about there's very few absolutes. So it's a different whatever. We know that females had that issue too, but we're talking about males. I think females, when your friends pretty much lend you another opportunity to kind of be a more of a support system compared to guys when they're down and out. Could you imagine a guy bawling out, just crying in front of 3 or 4 of his homeboys? How do you think that exchange would be? How do you think it would be compared to a female crying where you all probably have a group hug and all that stuff? As for a guy, it wouldn't be nice. That shit would. That's when men would be petty and be talking about that for the rest of their damn life.
Correct. Which is what I was explaining, the difference between what men do and what women do and how we handle certain situations. It's not the same. Women want it to be, but it's like newsflash. That's not how we're built. This is why I said the term impulsive comes along with a lot of things that men do. Oh, he's impulsive. He doesn't think. Well, a lot of men don't think sometimes. They just react. And I can't remember if it was a conversation or dialogue I was having with somebody online or something to that extent when I said, if there's a situation that somebody screams help, men aren't asking who needs help. Men are generally going to run and see what's going on to see if they can help. Whereas a lot of women will look around and say, okay, what's going on? And then they'll decide, given the situation and the danger that exists, whether they're going to help or not. This is why a lot of women will look to men and say, well, aren't you going to help? No, why should I? And this is when men are categorized as not being masculine, not being brave, being a coward, and all the other things that go along with a man that doesn't act.
And don't mind me, I'm just laughing because Ronnie Maxwell said pretty much, nigga, man up. See, and that's the response that you would get, where there would be very seldom a guy that probably would say, yo, man, I understand you hurt, man, and I know you care for her, but what can we do to get past this? Because society don't allow men to feel that way. And
I'm gonna need y'all to stop watching all them goddamn Lifetime movies. Because
are you for real? Are you for real?
I'm so serious. Because let me tell you something. If I was to start crying over a man, my friends would be like, really, you crying over that raggedy ass nigga? I'm gonna need you to put your big girl panties on and cut that shit out right now. But there's no hug at all. I'm sorry that this ain't working out. That's not real. That's not real.
But no. That's the
because
point that
if they're your real friends, they've been watching shit from the outside. They've been watching shit from the outside, and they tend to see things that you don't see. And that'll be the point where they start pointing out shit that you didn't realize was going on. Because you so goddamn in love, you got them blinders on.
But both genders suffer from that. This is what Gary's going through.
Gary ain't going through that shit. Gary just missed. Gary's problem is he didn't miss his well. He didn't miss his water till the well ran dry. And now he in his damn feelings. That's his problem.
But that's what I
thought about that shit before he committed the actions that put him in a seat that he in right now.
But that's what I just described, saying it depends on how he was reared. So you mean to tell me
I know some
how you raised?
I know a lot of men that came from single parent homes, raised by either just a mom or just a dad, and they don't have them kind of damn problems. They not unhinged, and he clearly is unhinged.
But that's the point. Depending on when you get the input is going to determine how you behave. If you get the input before you start dating, you'll behave differently. The information you put another way. If I'm making a cake and I put the yeast in late and that yeast doesn't have time to grow to make that dough rise, you're going to have a flat cake. If I put that yeast in at the right time, you're going to get a cake that rises properly. It's the same thing with an individual who's reared. If you get that information too late, you're going to be dysfunctional for what most people will consider a normal relationship, whether it's male or female. You're shaking your head, but that society has borne that out. This is why they say a woman can raise a boy to be a man only until a certain age. After that, he needs to be given to his father so he can finish this. This is why we have these.
A man needs to be a part of his son's life from day one, because let me tell you something. If once the mother loses control, ain't no way in hell the father just gonna step in the picture and all of a sudden you're gonna tell this damn near grown man what the fuck to do.
Why do you say that can't be the case when maybe that's what he's been longing for? It just like if it was a female, maybe he will listen to. So sometimes kids, as well as anything, could tune out a certain parent or tune out a certain individual. So that message may be different. But y'all got all the answers. Y'all know.
I don't have all the answers. I just live life experiences. And I know lots of dudes who told their father, fuck out of here. You ain't been here in years. What the fuck you got to tell me that I can't learn from one of my uncles or somebody else who's been here since day one? Miss me with that.
But that's the point.
So you can miss me with that get a kid to the father shit, because that don't work.
I didn't say give the kid to the father.
You just said that.
No, I did not say give
You saying a mother can raise a boy to be a man, and then there's a point where you need to give that boy to his father. You did
No,
just say that.
I have not said that tonight. You're taking what I've said on.
You did say that. Oh my God, David, did he not just say that?
I think he said something in form of let the father take over.
Bingo.
Same difference. Same difference.
It's a difference.
So explain the difference, Herb. What's the difference?
The point is this. You can take, it's just like I made with the cake analogy. You take a boy from the time that he is born to the time he hits puberty, and you let that mother rear him so he understands what nurture is. And then you give him to his father so his father can teach him how to handle his masculine.
You realize that boys hit puberty at different ages, right?
The age is immaterial. I said to the age of puberty. So whenever it starts, you give it to him. Let me put it to you like this.
Say it again. Give them to him.
I'll make this real simple for you. You have a teen son?
Hell no, I don't have a teen son, but I've had teen brothers. That's how I know that shit don't work.
It's not the same thing. Don't even try it. It's not the same thing. But I'll tell you.
My brothers tell their father, kiss my ass. You ain't been here. They listen to my mother way more than they listen to their father.
And why do you think that is?
Because my mother's been real since day one.
She's been real or she's been there?
She's been real and been there, both.
Okay, now let me ask you why
you can't take away from her is her consistency.
Her consistency? She has no choice but to be consistent.
Her consistency.
She's the only parent, so of course she's consistent.
Not by choice.
Wait a minute, so she was raped?
No.
So she had a choice.
Yeah, she had a choice. She didn't have
not by choice.
To be a single parent, that wasn't the choice.
She had a choice of who she chose to allow father a child. So all that other nonsense you talking, put to the side, because I'm not even engaged in that. We love to fall back on the child, not choice when you have the ultimate choice of who you have sex with. That's the ultimate choice. How do you run from that responsibility? And then you want to place it on a man talking about, well,
you do this shit all the time.
Your father.
You run from that responsibility all the time. You really gonna sit here and act like that's not the grand scheme of it all lately in this fucking society?
There
are more men running out on their kids than there are women. So I'm sorry, miss me with this pity party for this nigga who want this woman to raise a child that's not hers after he stepped out.
Who's giving him a pity party?
Yeah.
Miss me with this pity party shit. Oh, what should he do? He need to grow the fuck up and get himself together. That's what he need to do. Go have several seats with himself.
And see, this is the funny thing. We never tell women that. Why is that?
Y'all not around to tell us shit.
Well, why isn't that?
Y'all get in y'all feelings and be like, oh, she an angry black woman, or she this and she that, and I can't deal with her.
Who mentioned anything about ethnicity? Who mentioned anything about ethnicity?
All this shit, and then at the end of the day, it becomes,
answer this one simple question.
What about the trifling ass men?
Answer this one simple question. Who mentioned anything about ethnicity?
It goes for any gender.
Who mentioned anything about ethnicity?
I'm not talking about a specific ethnicity because I probably did just say that, but it applies for everyone.
But why? Nobody mentioned genders. No ethnicity. See, this is when the truth starts to emanate.
It applies in every ethnicity.
How do you know? Have you dated a white man?
Most certainly have.
And did he have kids by you?
Nope.
So how do you know what he would do if he had a child then?
I wasn't interested in having kids with him. I wasn't interested in marrying him. That was the
question that I asked. I said, how would you know what he would do unless you had a child by him? You wouldn't. So now you're speculating. And this that women keep trying to feed the masses that has black men looking like we're no good. Because you picked the good men that had a child by, so when the good man steps up, she's got to deal with all the nonsense that the no good man has left you.
And there was a good woman who took care of him, and what did he do?
And this is what we're explaining.
What did he do? He stepped out on her
isn't
She
true.
said, I don't have to take this because I know that I'm a good woman. And now he's calling back talking about, oh, I want to be a family with you. You already had the family in your hand. You did not want and were not satisfied or happy with the family that you had. You decided you wanted to be free. I don't know how the fuck you're going to be free when you're a grown man in a relationship. There's no such thing as freedom. It's a partnership now, homie. And if you don't want a partnership, there's no point in you being here to begin with. So he just pretty much wasted her time. And now he want her back.
But see, this is what I started off explaining.
Hold on, let me read this comment. Ronnie Maxwell said, not listening to understand, just listening to respond. That's why Convo is going this way. Angry black woman.
I'll take that. I'll take that. See, here's the thing. I don't get offended by people who don't know me from a can of paint. I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall.
That's what I was explaining, why he made the decisions that he had made. Nobody's giving him a pass.
That's not an excuse. That just sounds like an excuse.
Why do you hear an excuse for an explanation? Explain that to me.
You were talking about what might possibly have happened to cause him to be this way. But do you know that for sure, that he grew up in a household where he wasn't given the proper information in advance that caused him to make decisions that he made? Do you know that for a fact?
Why do people make the decisions that they make?
Do you know that for a fact?
Yes.
So you know this person in real life, and you know for a fact what his situation is.
Yes.
I think it's more LaToya inferring what possibly could be the outcome because of his upbringing that caused him to that. As soon as Herb was landing on that, you went all the way in and couldn't settle for what we were saying. Even as far as friendships and how men handle stuff. And then you went on to say we watch too many Lifetime movies. I do watch Lifetime.
Y'all did
but that ain't my makeup.
Girlfriends will give you a hug. That's bullshit. Women don't really sit around and do that shit. We don't.
Do you think the conversation will be different than a man's conversation?
Yeah, it most certainly is.
I ain't checking for that one.
We don't sit around and do all that shit that y'all say we do. We really don't.
No, y'all just brolic like that, huh? That's why they call you Brolic T. That's what it's about. So you had all your friends is just hardcore. There's never one that says.
I have a few friends that will sit there and cry over everything.
Okay, so that's what we're saying.
But you know what? It's about knowing your personnel. Every female is not like that, and every female in my group is not like that.
We already passed that point with absolutes. You know this. So why is you going there with that?
Like I said, you're trying to take the exception and make it the rule. And that's what disingenuous women do often. I'm calling it out tonight. I don't have the time nor the tolerance for no BS. Stop it. Stop trying to make the exception break the mold. There have been studies upon studies of why people make the decisions that they do. This is why I can say emphatically that what you know as a kid will determine what you do as an adult. It's not my information. It's information that's been written about, talked about, and documented. I don't speak about these things extemporaneously. I don't need to. This is why I research this information. This is old stuff. It's just like I gave the cake analogy. Depending upon when that yeast is putting that cake, is going to depend upon when that cake rises. That's indisputable. You ask any baker that, they'll tell you that. You read any book, it'll tell you that. This is why they tell you to cook something for a certain amount of time so it's done. Adults are no different. Kids are no different. This is why I say, if that boy is allowed to go with his father at a certain time, he comes out emotionally more secure, mentally more sturdy to be able to deal with certain situations. Now, depending upon when that happens, is going to depend upon how he behaves. That's an absolute certainty.
That's not true. All right, whatever.
Oh, well, give me a situation. Give me.
So let me ask you a question. So all right, let's follow y'all logic. Now,
No, it's not our logic.
Let's follow y'all line. Let's follow what y'all said, right? So mom raises the boy till he's in his puberty stage, right? And then she turns him over to his father, who is an alcoholic. How do you think that is going to go?
Well, let me.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a remark.
Let me answer that. Let me answer that.
Sometimes that ain't even fit to be the person in charge.
Let me answer that. And you're correct. And you're correct.
When the father is unfit. This is what I'm saying. You can't always say, give the child to his father. Sometimes dads aren't fit to be fathers. What is a mother supposed to do in a situation like that? Speak on that. Can't always say, give the child to his father. Some fathers are not fit to be fathers.
You're correct. And you're correct. And most mothers who know that will say, ain't no way in hell my son going there. So it would never jump off because the father's not going to come through anyway when he's under that situation. So no, it's not. Again, there's not no absolutes that going to the father, it can happen. And even if it was a father that was,
I'm trying to say, you can't use that as an excuse all the time because that's not always the case.
Even when the father is on point with stuff, it may be certain things he say, damn, my job is strenuous. I just don't have, I work late. I don't have time to do the homework with him and all of that stuff. So none of this stuff is absolute. So, and that's what we need to understand and get through. So none of this is like, this is scenario A, this is scenario B, this is scenario C, and we locked into these situations. It's not like that. This is just dialogue and having conversation. Yeah, Gary just wanted a family at the end of the day.
Gary should have thought about that before he made the decisions that he made. Ain't no going back now. Gary might as well stick it out with the baby mama that he went out there and created with. She was good enough for him to lay down and make a damn baby with. She should be good enough for him to raise the baby with. Call it a damn day.
So every gender, both genders don't do this.
Do what?
What's been listed in the scenario?
Yeah, that happens with both genders.
Okay, so let's take the Gary needs to sit down and let's take the family that he wanted and let's just talk about the situation as is. This is what I was trying to get to. I would have laid out the female component had you not jumped in. It's not as if men are the only ones that go through the buyer's remorse with having chosen the wrong individual. And I'll mention Salt and Pepper. When she had a chance at Will Smith, she rejected him. Now she's wishing she hadn't because she sees the type of man that he is. So it's not that just men do this, women do it across the spectrum, but we allow for women to do it and not men. When men do it, we call them out, we call them boys. They need to have several seats, and whereas the women, they're giving the pass and they're giving compassion, which is what they're talking about. Men are allowed to experience that gambit of emotions because we're considered the less emotional of the two genders, which is understandable because that's not our first response mechanism. This is what I was going to lay out had I been allowed to lay out the argument. So y'all have a propensity of jumping in the boat when it's half full and then realize the boat is strangulating and sinking and y'all trying to get out. Believe me, I'll cover both aspects of the situation. I'm not here to assess blame. Blame is far too easy for me to label, far too easy for anyone to label. I always talk about the causes and how to avoid the root causes so we don't have to deal with this when people start to have sex. This is one of the things we talked about with a past show with why do people start having kids when they're not prepared. So trust me, I'm not here to throw shade at men. I'm not here to throw shade at women. I'm here to address the root causes because if you build a house upon a sand foundation, that house is going to fall apart. And we see this happening with Gary. Now, Gary is exhibiting what we call buyer's remorse. He's made a kid with a woman that he doesn't want to be with as opposed to being with the woman that he had the chance to be with. But he didn't know that then. He knows now.
He burned that bridge, though.
But who said he didn't? I'm listening.
She got any? Well,
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
Who said he did not burn the bridge? Let me hear the answer.
I'm assuming he burnt the bridge with Maria because she don't want him back.
Okay, but who's saying he didn't?
How do you know? Okay, so hold on. I'm confused here. He steps out on her and has an affair, and he didn't burn a bridge. Are you serious right now?
Who said he did not burn the bridge?
I never said that you didn't say he burned a bridge. I'm just saying I don't know why he think he has a shot. That bridge is burned. He can't go back there. So why is he trying to stress her out about being a damn family? Why? I'm serious, baby. What is the point in trying to be a family with this woman?
For the same reason that everybody does it. They know now what they didn't know then. How many? Hey, let me ask another question.
That's tough cookies for him.
But nobody's saying it isn't.
He needs to just let that go. Tough cookies for him. You need to let it go.
Listen, LaToya. How many times did a woman turn you down initially and you keep plugging, and you keep plugging at it, and eventually she says, you know what? He's been consistent with this. And she opened up the opportunity for him to come over, or they go out to eat or whatever. Then he's back in the mix. Evidently, Gary knows something that it might be a loophole.
He must know something because he's trying mighty damn hard.
Let me see. Lakia said he thinks he has a shot because women could tend to be more forgiving, especially when they were in love with the guy. That's what Gary may know.
True.
And that's what Gary may know.
True. I can't say that I haven't been there. I've definitely been in that boat where.
So then you know.
No, I can.
But why would you
defend it? Definitely am not that person anymore because you learn real damn fast. You give them a second chance, and then I should have followed my first mind and kept your ass away from me.
But women
keep them away from learn
women
from your first mistake. Don't do
it again. That's not exclusive to a gender. We just so happen to hear about it from women because women are more quicker to talk about it. Men aren't going to talk about being burned by a female because that makes them look foolish. The one thing a man doesn't want to do in front of his peers is look foolish. He wants to look like he has it all under control, whether he does or he doesn't.
That ego will get you in trouble. But
that's what men do. This is what we're trying to tell you.
I know that's what y'all do. You ain't got to tell me. I'm just saying that's a dumbass thing for y'all to do.
No.
So when we addressed it, when we talked about it, you kind of was dismissive and was kind of like, oh, females do that too. But we were talking about men. We were giving you insight on men, but you kind of know. You kind of already know this information, right?
I was raised by my uncles. There's a lot of things I know about men that I shouldn't fucking know. I'm grateful. It's a gift and a curse at the same damn time.
That's a flaw. This is the perspective that we operate from that kills us, metaphorically speaking, not literally. Why would you not want to know everything that there is to know about the opposite gender so you understand how to relate to them?
Never said I didn't want to know. I said it's a gift and a curse. There's a difference.
You said there were some things that you should know. Correct me if I'm
I probably shouldn't know.
You should know, probably should know.
I said that I probably shouldn't know.
Why should you not know it or should not know?
Because the things that I know makes it extremely hard for a man to get next to me.
Why?
Too many things that I know.
Why? You're not a
so you've been tainted.
Remember how I said I know within 5 minutes whether I can date somebody or whether they would be a friend or somebody I don't want around me at all?
That's fine.
Within 5 minutes based on those things.
You should.
I've learned.
That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
That's what I said. It's a gift and a curse.
It's not a curse.
I think a dude might be cool and I might like him. It's like, I might like you, but can't even waste my time on you.
It's not a curse. The only reason a female will view it as a curse is because it overrides her biological imperative to get with the man that she finds the most attractive. You're shaking your head, and there's books written about it. This is what I keep telling you. Alan Roger Curry has broken this down to a science. There's a reason why I mention these book authors. This information doesn't come from me. It comes from me listening to these people speak about these situations hours upon hours, giving hundreds of individual testimonies from guys that have no relation to each other, talking about the same thing and how their outcomes have varied. And if they had this sooner, they would have done this differently. If they had done this differently, they would have had this outcome. Trust me on this, because that's something I'm going to start doing on the Monday shows, as I'm going to start quoting book references so y'all can go argue with the authors and the results. Because y'all keep thinking this is what Herb is saying, and Herb doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And that Herb is just pulling this shit out of his ass. When I keep telling y'all, book after book, author after author.
Are you sure about that? Because according to them, men don't talk about that kind of stuff.
Men don't talk about it to women, but they'll talk about it to somebody who writes in a book.
I'm just saying.
It's called research.
Now, Ronnie O said,
I'm reading the comment that popped up on the screen.
He said, man, definitely talk about being burnt by a female. But I don't, you may talk about it, but do you break down? Are you emotional about it? Are you saying, damn, I'm fucked up, man. She don't want to talk to me no more. It's over. She's saying it's done. Do you show those emotions? Or are you talking about it and you kind of, bad mouthing them or saying, stuff out of pocket about them and not really expressing your part of it? So I think that's an issue too, whatever, how you address it. I mean, I think if some men were able to have someone to break down it, because like I said, we're taught from a young age not to really show emotions. But I know y'all gonna say, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Let me ask you a question. If men had that outlet, do you really think that they would go for it?
If it was somebody trusting, if it was a safe space, I think they would.
I keep telling you guys, YouTube is filled with these spaces of men talking about this openly. But because you guys, like I told you with Kevin Sandwiches, you said you fell asleep on them. You found it boring, which is why you never get it. Hold on.
Don't get me wrong. I have watched him. I've had people send me certain things by him. But the one thing somebody said, I was really...
Hold on. Jesus Christ. That's why you never get the information, because you're too busy talking and not listening. It's just like medicine. We hate to do the things that are good for us. Sit there and listen to that man's shows for 2 weeks and you'll understand what I'm talking about with no judgment. Just listen. No heat, no judgment, and listen to what the women say consistently and how they always come back to square one. There's shows that were out upon.
I'm amazed that people actually call and tell him this kind of shit.
Of this information that's out there, but women don't want to sit there and listen to it for whatever reason. I can talk about this because I've listened to men that I know nothing about talk about the same thing, and we're going to get into this on subsequent shows with the red, blue, black, and purple pills, pink too. We're going to get into this, so I'm going to break it down for all of y'all so we can close your mouths, because I'm tired of the nonsense that y'all come here.
I can't wait for that day when you can shut me up.
Well, I've already done it.
You think?
No, I know. That's why you're quiet now.
You must put yourself on mute.
I'm listening to you, but I'm looking at something.
Mm-hmm. That's what they all say.
Listen. What's that?
I ain't never got to lie. I'm looking at a program. I'm looking at my programming languages notes. Thank you, sir. I ain't never got to lie. Told you I don't tell lies.
Who said anything about you?
I was looking at something.
Who said
that's what they all say. No, I really am looking at something. Ain't got nothing to lie about.
Who said you were lying?
That's what they all say. That's basically calling me a liar.
Who? If I wanted to call you a liar, I'd call you a liar. Believe me, I'm not bashful. but I have no reason to.
I know you're not. You definitely are not. And that shows.
Listen. Let me go back a little bit more into the scenario and give some perspectives that was said about y'all boy Gary. So most people viewed this scenario that said Gary is hurt and angry because of his past and can't handle the fact that Maria is in a better place with her life. This is the risk that happens when you decide to step out in relationships. Gary needs to keep his Johnson in his pants, and Gary and Maria need some effective child planning courses. Also, Gary started out hiding things in the relationship and will continue to do so. So maybe that they were saying that's the reason why Maria won't give ground, because she knows Gary is full of crap. Knowledge of the situation. Let me just finish these points. Maria is better off without Gary. When they were together, he half-assed handled his business and never accepted Maria's daughter. When he found out about her, both parties keep it moving. Actions. Maria can choose to remain a friend to Gary and accept the situation for what it's worth and understand that if she takes him back, there will be a lot of bitterness and resentment to work out. And finally, the consequences. Gary and Maria may not end up speaking again behind their issues. They made a run at a relationship years ago, and now 2 children have been brought into this equation, which will complicate matters worse. Family means everything, but some bonds need to be broken for the betterment of certain individuals.
Well, basically, if he couldn't accept her child then, who's to say he would accept her child now? We want her to play mommy to his baby, but what about hers? Can he honestly be a father to her child? Because it didn't seem like it from the story.
Yeah, and that's what's making it intriguing, because he had that opportunity, and when she had a child during one of their separations, he really didn't, take heed to it because it wasn't his child. But I'm assuming Gary never had a child, and that was his ultimate goal, to have a child. And he went through many ways to try to get one, which doesn't make it right, but I think some of the things that I was trying to bring into this episode was also about letting go for men. Because as you said, Latoya, he didn't want to let go. He didn't want to let go. He kept pushing and was thinking like there was an opportunity for them to have something. So there's certain reasons why men just don't let go. All right, I'll pass the baton. I don't like to dominate a conversation.
Go ahead, because we keep and see this is the frustrating part of trying to lay out certain positions in certain situations. You get a half of something out there, and then people start to attack what it is that you're putting out without understanding the underlying causes. Nobody goes into a home, or let me use a different analogy. If there's a construction accident, they don't look at the secondary reason why the accident occurred.
No, they look at the primary.
So when we are laying out the primary cause of why something occurs, why is it everybody wants to jump to the secondary explanation?
That's the one that's there. You don't know what the primary is at the beginning. Sometimes you find out the secondary before the primary.
Every situation that occurs when it comes to humans and mating has a primary cause. Why does everyone want to jump to the secondary cause?
Is the primary cause always known up front?
That's not the question I asked.
Is the primary cause always known up? But that answers your question. If people don't know the primary, the secondary is what they're going to argue because that's what they know.
So
exactly, Tiffany, and sometimes that's the case too. The secondary might be primary to someone else.
There's no such thing. Two doesn't start the numerical sequence. One does.
Actually, 0 does. But
okay, even better then. So you know how the process works, but yet and still you want to jump to number 2. I'm always.
Did you lead with the primary? All right, so let me ask you a question. Did you lead with the primary or the secondary?
I started with the primary.
You start with the no. You started with the secondary.
I started with the primary. But because somebody didn't want to listen, they jumped to the secondary. I said I started laying out the masculine principle, and I said I will get to the female later because we were talking about the masculine. And then somebody jumped in, half cop, talking about this and that. Correct me when I'm wrong. You said I can't set you up.
Jump in. I answered the question.
What question did you answer when none was asked?
I don't even remember at this point.
Oh, you don't remember? Isn't that convenient?
It'll come back to me in a minute.
Yeah, sure. I'm done, David. I'm done. You call the next witness?
Herb said he didn't shut you up, Latoya Brolick T.
Shit, he didn't set anything up.
Hey, anything else pertaining to time?
I'm still waiting.
Your Honor, can you dismiss the witness?
Whew, man, that was intense.
I guess.
Well, I guess whatever. It was a lot. I mean, you can act like you unbothered,
I'm not bothered, though.
You came in bothered.
No, I wasn't bothered. I wasn't bothered. I'm just saying. Stop saying that.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
My primary thing when I came in is like, yo, stop saying give the child to the father and all that. Because that's not always the case. You gotta stop saying that. That is not the case for everybody. Everybody can't just do that.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what then. Let's hold on. I'll make you a deal. Let's listen to the watch party. If I said what you said, I said, I'll cash up you $50. If not, you stay off the panel for a month. How about that?
That's easy.
Okay. Deal?
Deal.
All right.
Oh, so, other people are saying things like, first, Ronnie O said if a baby was not made, he would be accepted back. It's just she's going to look stupid to her friends. Cheating with no kid, she would accept him back.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that because he couldn't accept her child. That's a big factor in things. She has a child and he couldn't accept that child. Who's to say that he would accept that child if she took him back? That's something that people aren't really taking into fact. Like she could take him back, but will he accept her child if she took him back?
That's done consistently. We just don't hear about it. All we have to do is look at the number of relationships where infidelity occurs and no dissolution of the marriage happens. That's something you can bear on the statistics. Fences was a movie predicated on that premise. The character played by Denzel Washington had a child out of wedlock. His wife knew, she stayed, and he paid to take care of the child. Even though
there are lots of marriages, but you got to think about the time in which that movie is based in. That was common then. I don't know that it
was common then.
Now.
Wait a minute. The Temptations made a song called "Papa Was a Rolling Stone." What do you think that was about?
Oh, I know exactly what that song was about. A man leaving seeds everywhere.
Certain people say that polygamy should be accepted because women know that it's in the nature for man to have multiple partners, so people might as well accept it.
Hold on, David. The irony is this.
Snuggles again.
Snuggles ain't on here.
See how she's projected?
I know Ronnie O said women put up with more if he's plowing them right. So if the guy is sexing them right, they put up more.
Some women will put up with more if it's good. That is true. I can agree with that. Some women will put up with way more if it's good. It's sad, but it's true.
So there's no clear-cut answer, and that's why it's important to have these conversations. We didn't put this out for us to say Gary's right or this person is wrong or whatever. We're just talking because some people are going through this right now. That's the point. Alicia said, who said that?
Alicia, be a little bit more clear with what you're asking. Who said what? Because I don't know if she's referring to what Brother
You might be referring to that polygamy comment because I'm.
Well, but the thing about polygamy and practicing is that women are already practicing polygamy. They're just not doing it in a traditional sense. When you see women out here with multiple children by multiple men, what do you think they're practicing? This is what child support is. It's just done under that guise. It's not done under the guise where
That's not the same thing, but okay.
I just see, once again, you jump in half-cocked.
I'm not jumping half-cocked.
Just said it's not being practiced the same way with everybody under one roof. What do you think polygamy is? A man that has multiple children with multiple women. That's what the child support system is doing. The only difference is they're living under different roofs. If they were all under one roof, living together, nobody would say anything. But because it's classified as polygamy, women want to buck the system when y'all doing that anyway.
Yeah. What if a woman said, yeah, I know that you deal with her. I deal with you. If you could be with you could be with her Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then you be with me the other days, and we split the weekends, and then we alternate the next week. I think a lot of women will buy into that.
They already
really do. Yeah.
Yeah,
I really do.
Being honest, and you giving them the option.
Yeah, I really do.
When you creep behind their back, that it's a problem.
Yeah. And I really do, because it cut out a lot of things to say, man, he's here with us these days. He's here with them. I think they will, instead of bringing Melvin into the equation, and you don't know what the hell is going to go on.
Because see, this is the funny thing. There's always a problem when it's talked about from the masculine perspective, but it's never an issue for women when it's talked about from the female perspective. And I wonder why that is. I do. I really do. But that's something we'll get into on a later show.
Hold on a second. I'm reading the comments.
Oh, quiet again.
No, I'm actually reading the comments.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Tell me anything.
Herb, Alicia said, where do you guys get this information from?
I keep telling y'all. There's books. You know what? I'm going to bring in somebody. Matter of fact, at the Monday show, we're going to get into some.
Yes, Tiffany, you most certainly can hold the prosecutor in contempt of court.
Topics. So I hope y'all got your shoulder pads.
And you can charge me with badgering the witness.
Buckle your chin strap. Because the gridirons, we're about to put all the people on the gridiron, and whoever left standing is left standing. So check your emotions at the door. We're about to get ready to bring, as Wu-Tang said, bring that MF and ruckus. So I hope you're ready.
Well, tonight I can tell you it's about to get heated up for March.
Yeah. Super Bowl 50, 56? We're gonna start a year early or 11 months early. So I hope you're ready. Get your popcorn, because this is not gonna be for the faint-hearted.
To answer Anita's question, it's not practiced as commonly, but it does. It was a thing in the past. It's called polyandry. And that sure as hell doesn't happen that often. Ask them that question. Why not?
Anita said, bring it. Anita, stop. You don't really want, many people may not want to smoke. And that's what Herb is about to bring, the smoke. And it's going to be people other than our voices, because I think y'all get tired of our voices.
Tiffany, they said, hold on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and it's other people that, like for Alicia to say, where do y'all get this information from? This stuff is life experience, whatever. See, when you, and I'm not saying for you, Alicia, but for many, if they only have a small circle and they only hear from a certain amount of people, that's the only perspective they're going to get. But it's just like if you went away to college or you relocated for a different job and you live in somewhere else, you're like, damn, like this is totally different that these people are talking at. So it's out there. when I first came on with Cocktail Conversations and I used to post in my stuff in different groups, they were looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? But people were intrigued because they were like, man, this is different perspectives. And they would always say, where do you find these people at? Who do you hang out with, David? I'm like, this stuff is happening. You're just in the bubble and where you live. And it's going on. So if you live in a rural area where your neighbor is 100, 200 yards away and all y'all see each other getting your mail, passing by, and once in a while you go to the market and you run into each other, it's going to be different than somebody else's life. This stuff is real. Can't make this stuff. This scenario is very real, very relevant. It was submitted to me. In fact, all of the situations in Cocktail Conversations are real situations. So it's real. This is real stuff.
I encourage y'all to buy the book. Honestly, buy the book.
They should buy it. They should have bought all my books, whatever, if they're on a panel on a weekly basis. They should have.
Buy the book. Buy the book. Buy the book.
Tiffany, you keep asking for the link. I done sent it to you many a times. It's in the thing, and nothing didn't change tonight. Unless you're telling me you really didn't want this smoke. All of a sudden, the link is not working. It's the same thing. It doesn't change. LaToya, how did you get on?
Actually, that link does change with every show.
I mean, it changed. It does change.
I post the same way you got the.
I did post it, but I think it got lost somewhere in the comments.
But this is what we're saying. Every time the show starts, with the exception of tonight, because I forgot, the link is posted. If you're here from the moment that we start the show, you can go back and scroll and click on and get the link. We don't hide the link. We post the link for people to come in.
Now, sometimes I'll send it to you before that, whatever, on Monday nights, whatever. Tonight, I didn't send it because, I know if y'all want it, y'all just go in the chat and we send it to you. But Tiffany is saying it's a connection issue. So I don't know. I can't dictate that.
We can help you with a technical issue.
Post it again.
But this is the thing. We've had multiple people over months say that they can't get in. That's not an us issue. All we can do is post a link. We can't deal with technical issues on your end. So if you have something blocking third-party cookies, or that's not allowing you to connect, then I would suggest going and checking your settings and see if you can connect from there, or contact your ISP, your internet service provider, and see if they can walk you through how to connect. That's the only thing we can tell you, because the vast majority of people who want to come in, they get in. So it's not as if we're hiding the link from you, or we're trying to keep somebody from getting on the show because we don't want to hear what you're saying. We always say, send us what you want to talk about. Come up on the panel and give us your input. We're not going to shut you down. What we will do is we're going to rip your perspective from rooter to the tutor if it can't stand up to the scrutiny. That will do.
Know what I like, Brolic T? You always there. I respect that. Yeah. You're always there. And I got much love and respect, whatever, for that.
I mean, no matter what. I want all the smoke.
I could tell. I could tell. And I respect you for that. You want all the smoke.
I don't get to debate too much anymore, so I need to sharpen my skills. I'm getting a lot of practice right now.
Yeah.
I am getting a lot
but
of
Scorpio
T
right is on here, so I know she got a lot in her bag, and I'm about to let her in. What's good?
It took y'all long enough.
It took you long enough to get connected. Yeah, whatever. It took you long enough to come in.
No, and for real life, I couldn't copy the link from the comments. Every time I tried to copy it so I could put it in my browser, it blanked out. So I'm like, I can't get on since the link is different every week. And I've never appeared on this show, and I'm assuming that may be why. I don't know. But I cannot get on.
Hold on, let me explain something. StreamYards is just it's like an access point. So what the link does is that it brings you to our specific show, because this StreamYards is used by thousands of people. Like, we're probably one of several thousand people who are running the StreamYards live. It's just like Zoom. Zoom allows you. Matter of fact, that's a perfect analogy. Brother T, you're teaching remotely.
Yeah,
It's the same type of
it is. It's like Zoom.
right. It's the same type of software. That's all it is. It's software that allows us to connect remotely from wherever we are on the planet, so long as you have that link. So look at it like you would the power grid, and I hate to use the power grid considering what's going on in certain states in the country.
Yes, because Louisiana is really on my last goddamn nerve right now.
Oh, well, I have people in Texas, so I'm matter of fact, Rebecca's in Texas, and I haven't heard from her. She hasn't been on the show, so I'm hoping that things are okay with her down there.
We missing girly girl. We missing girly girl.
I got some people down in Texas too, and they having it bad. One of my relatives' whole entire ceiling at the apartment that she rents fell in because the people upstairs pipe froze. And then I have a cousin who has he has stalagmites, ice stalagmites coming out of his toilet. It's all ugly there.
Let me do a PSA real quick. David and I last year, probably July, August, maybe in October, we started talking about doomsday prepping, and I know this is probably something that really is going to be dull and mundane to people, but people, you have to start preparing for worst case scenario, or as they call shit hits the fan situations, SHTF.
You sound like somebody else I know.
I'm just putting it out there to you right now as it stands.
No, you're right, but you sound like two people I know.
Texas.
Probably one of them is my brother, huh?
Hold on.
Texas.
No comment.
Texas as a whole. Texas as the state itself as a whole did not prepare, did not bone up, whereas other places can handle it because they did the preventative measures. Texas did none of
it. Exactly. Like I remember I've been in my house 8 years this past November. I remember when I moved from my apartment, I had 3 kerosene heaters, and I was asking my brother what I should I sell them or get rid of them. He said, no, hang on to them because you never know when you need them. The next winter, not that winter because I moved in November, that was the first winter. The following winter, there was an issue with the gas lines on my entire block. So nobody on my entire block had any natural gas heat.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled out those kerosene heaters, and I had some kerosene at the time, closed off most of the house. Matter of fact, I wasn't even downstairs. I let the downstairs go. Went upstairs, took my 2 cats, closed off all the doors, and I put a kerosene heater in the hallway. It kept that area heated to about 63 degrees for 36 hours. I had to refill the canister for 36 hours that I was without heat. It was so cold that I came downstairs, opened my freezer, took out a piece of meat, left it on the kitchen table, and I came back hours later. It hadn't even started to defrost. This is what people start talking about when they start talking about doomsday prep. And it can be the small thing, batteries, a transistor radio, and as stupid as it sounds, a landline phone. I know everybody's moving to cellular, but in an emergency, a landline phone could be your lifesaver. I have 2 landlines.
Those things always work.
A CB would be a better mode of communication, even in a disaster situation. But in the case of my cousin, she did everything she was supposed to. I guess the people upstairs just forgot to let their water keep running. And so when their pipes froze and burst, it came down on her.
Right. If you're concerned about your pipes freezing, let the water run. Running water does not freeze. And another thing that most people don't know is the reason, excuse me, the reason why pipes burst is because when water freezes, it expands and it breaks the seals.
Yep.
Water is the only element known to man that when it freezes, it reacts differently than everything else. everything else contracts. Water expands. That's why your seams burst. So let your water run. I don't care if your water bill goes up. It's cheaper than having to replace flooring.
And nobody is saying have a full stream run. You just need to let it keep dripping a little bit.
Let
It doesn't
it
have
drip
to
a
run
little bit.
force. Yeah,
Yo,
or insulate
yo.
your pipes. You can wrap your pipes in insulation, and that'll keep it from having to keep your cabinets open.
And
It's the simple things. But in the case of when you've done everything right and someone else failed to do it, if you're living in condos, let's say you have a condo and there's a 3-flat condo. So if the people on the top level fail to do what they're supposed to do, then it doesn't matter how much preparation you do because it's coming down on your head. You know, so it is good to prepare, and when you go out, you stock up, you do all the things that you need to do, but that does not mean that it's going to prevent anything. If somebody else is
people need to keep in mind is that, like, housing down here in the South is meant to keep houses cool. It's not meant to keep it warm because it's traditionally hot down here. So you're gonna have to insulate your house or figure out creative ways to insulate your house to keep the heat in, because none of these are designed. Like when they decided that they were going to do their little shutdown the other night, I was too through. I was like, God damn it, it's cold.
Well, let me.
Thank God I have heaters and stuff, but it was like, man, what the hell was my phone call?
Let me ask this. The reason why I'm stressing this particular mode of preparedness is because it's easier to cool off than it is to keep warm.
It really
Even if you were without electricity in the summer, you can always go outside. You can always fan yourself. You can get in the pool and keep cool. You can sit in a tub of cold water. You can keep cool. If you have elderly people, you can wrap them in cold towels. It will help cool their body temperature as well as their core temperature. But you can't get that same effect in the wintertime. So keeping warm, food and water becomes your major concern. Case in point, I have kerosene. I have a Weber grill that I can cook off of. I have 4 canisters of propane. They will last me about 12 to 24 hours in terms of being able to cook. I only have to worry about myself. So in that aspect, I'm good. Water is not a concern. I can bring that inside by the 5-gallon pail. I have a 5-gallon pail that I can clean out if necessary. Bleach it.
Yeah, but you know what? If your electricity failed, because like I know out there in Texas, they're having rolling blackouts and all of those things. So if your electricity fails, that adds another element of complication. Yes, you can stay warm. Yes, you can cook on a rubber grill, but landline is good because we have one. but for other things, the people who have like medical issues that need the electricity, that adds another level.
I'm speaking specifically of people who are able-bodied. With the medical things, you can't do anything about. That's why I never include that, because that's
the only thing that a person with medical issues can do is maybe go stay by somebody else or find somebody who may have electricity and see if they, they'll let them stay there in the time being. It's uncomfortable and but at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do for yourself.
Can I ask y'all something? I kind of understand how we got to this scientific point and all these concerns, but y'all had bigger fish to fry. And I know we talked about Texas and people there and Girly Girl and all of that. Rebecca been missing. Hopefully she's all right. I communicated with her a little bit, but y'all got bigger issues right now. I mean, for right here on this panel, it's the Gary issues that Tiffany came on, Scorpio T, Anita. So y'all were
shouting out my whole government name.
Okay. Scorpio T, my bad, Anita, but not Baker. What y'all got to say prior to all the knowledge that was kicked with crisis situations?
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm still waiting to see the knowledge. How about that?
No knowledge. It was no knowledge or nothing.
No, because you can't tell me what to value. You can't tell me what to agree with. So just because someone says it does not mean that I place value on that. That's it. That's all. Ain't nothing in the middle.
So how do you determine what you value?
I determine what I value based on my perspective, just like every other person in the world does. People place value on what's important to them. Period.
But how do you
There
determine?
ain't nothing in the middle of it.
How do you determine if a certain person speak to this and you say, you know what? I tend to follow what this person say, and I kind of believe in it. How do you determine that?
But this is what I determined, that everybody has nuggets from time to time. You got a nugget, I can rock with it. But nobody, and I do mean nobody, except maybe Jesus Christ himself, knew every absolute in every situation, and there is no black or white for everything.
But this is what we try to get the point across to begin with. There is no absolute. So when we say something, I think typically that's people's response. Oh no, that ain't the case. Oh no, not all females, not all males.
I was listening to you guys talk, and y'all kept saying things like women are more emotional and this, that, and the other, and I just don't agree with that. That's not a true statement. But that's not even a point.
Hold on.
You did say that a woman that nurturing is a woman's person is like a woman's go-to.
So y'all don't think in most cases women are more nurturing than men? In most cases.
Wait a minute. I said emotional. Y'all, we back to nurturing. I said emotional.
Y'all keep dancing around the goddamn mulberry bush, whatever. Like y'all
now,
dancing.
when I said that women ain't more emotional, more nurturing, y'all had we're not talking about that. Now you want to talk about it, but let's talk about it.
Who said that? Who said that?
I'm saying let's talk about it. I'm saying let's talk about it. You want to talk about it? Here go to smoke. Hell no.
Smoke. I want all the damn smoke.
Women ain't necessarily.
And I ain't gonna never say my link ain't working.
Hold
I want the smoke
y'all
when the smoke is started.
Don't interrupt. Wait a minute, homie. Y'all always say don't interrupt when y'all talking. You hear my voice, y'all sit quiet like you want me to do. That's how this works. So here's the smoke. No, women ain't necessarily more nurturing. Ask any father that got a daughter and see how nurturing he is. So no, women are not necessarily more nurturing. You guys have determined that because that's how you view women. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make your view correct. Because I know some cutthroat women, baby. Okay, and that are ring. I know some women.
Are they single?
I know some. I'm saying I know some women with some men's mentality.
That's the issue. That's the issue. The man's mentality. They need to have a female mentality. Because they're female.
Well, they can have
that's the problem.
Okay, but now we're back. But now we're back to traditional gender roles. But now you guys gotta see.
I try not to know too many men with a female mentality.
You know them all. You know them. You know them. A lot of the times you look them in their eye and talk to them, though.
This is why you assign it a masculine principle, because it's associated with men more so than it is women. And this is the point that we're making. That's it. You keep talking about you don't agree, but here you are using a terminology that says you agree.
They don't agree. You don't agree. You don't agree.
Hold up.
You don't agree because one or two people that she knows feel that way. So that means that's the ultimate.
No, hold up.
Hey, wait, let me show you the Let me show you the foolishness in this statement. Because I don't use the terminology that you feel like I should use. That automatically makes me more emotional according to you. See, that just tells me you're not listening.
Nobody said that. You use the terminology that is assigned to a masculine behavior.
Now let me ask y'all a question, because I'm just curious about this. Y'all tend to say that women are more emotional, right? Right? Mm-hmm. Women are more emotional, right? But is it
compared to?
You say that,
wait a minute.
Y'all say that men. Y'all say that men. y'all say that men are more prone to anger, right? But isn't anger an emotion?
It's a secondary emotion at that.
Yes,
but that's always their primary go-to, right?
An emotion is an emotion.
More emotional. How the hell can we be more emotional?
No man wants a woman who thinks and acts like a man.
Different emotions.
An
Well, wait a
emotion.
minute. Anger.
Different emotions. But men are just as emotional as women. Hell, y'all get angry. Y'all more likely to go bash at a woman's head in or kicking her damn door or something like that.
You know what he talking about. You know what we talking about.
Let's take it from the scientific point. Scientifically speaking, anger is a secondary emotion, usually born out of hurt, which is the first emotion. Anger is the display of that emotion.
Hurt is an emotion?
You don't think it ain't?
Hold on, wait a minute. You said according to science. I'm asking because I've never seen that.
Go back, go look for it. Like you always tell us.
Usually it's thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors. That's the cycle.
Is that not an emotion?
That's the cycle. That's the cycle.
Our thoughts emotional. Wait a minute. Our thoughts emotional.
You can't defy. You can't defy stuff that's already been biologically whatever. Thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors.
Why can't I? Y'all do it all the time. Why can't I?
You can't.
If it's acceptable for you, it's acceptable for me. That's how that works. So my question is, it's not a thought. Is a thought not generally connected to an emotion?
That's when you think something, then that's what it leads to. It thoughts, actions.
Is it not connected to an emotion?
It's the centerpiece. That's the first stage.
Which once again brings me back to my first perspective. Anger is an emotion. It's a secondary emotion.
Everybody entitled to feel what they feel. It's what you do with the anger that's what counts. That's the key thing. It's what you do with it.
So because a woman expresses her hurt or her anger with her emotions, somehow it's invalid because she doesn't hold it all in. I'm asking.
What's funny to me, what's interesting to me, this is how not the subject ain't even have to get to this. But it just came about a situation with Gary. It wasn't about this tug of war that y'all trying to pull into. Y'all the one that tend to come in, I disagree with that or such and such. Ain't nobody. It wasn't even
because
about
I have
that.
a thought process. I have a brain.
Not really. We have perspective.
And again, that didn't answer my question. When you ask questions, when you ask a question, you want a clearly defined answer, and I'm asking for that. What's the clearly defined answer?
Clearly defined answer to what?
To the question I just asked you.
What's the question you just asked me?
I said it led me right back to my first point, which is anger is a secondary emotion born by hurt. And because women choose to express that and not hold it in, is that somehow different because women are, you say that makes them emotional because we choose to discuss the topic or address it and men hold it in. So that makes you less emotional, which is not true. Is that right?
We said, I think the original point is men are not allowed that option to express themselves by their circles, by their circles, by their circles.
That's not the question.
That's what we started off with. That's the original point. That's the central theme. That was the central theme. Y'all took it another way. Y'all took it another way. So if you want to deal with it, deal with the beginning stages of it. You can't dance around and make it fit your narrative.
Wait, so somehow now you're gonna tell me where I need to start having my thoughts.
That's where the original conversation started with.
The primary basis of where I started the discussion at. This is what I keep saying.
You trying to make it fit your narrative.
But starts what?
But do you not try to? But do you not try to make it fit your
narrative? Because I'm giving you what I got on this scenario. I ain't trying to make it fit because this shit ain't me. This not me. This not my scenario. Y'all make it twist and turn and all that stuff.
You know what?
It's not my
We can make this real simple. Go back and start. Go back when the rebroadcast is played. Go back and listen to the very beginning of what was laid out, and then you'll understand what we're talking about.
But did y'all not bring me on here to address what I felt like I needed to say? So you don't get to tell me I'm not done. I am not done talking. You don't get to tell me to go,
I know where you're going.
but you don't get to tell me to go back to the beginning and reevaluate what I've already heard. I've been here since the beginning. I was tagged in this video. So I've been watching since the beginning. So that's neither here nor there. What I asked for was a clear-cut answer to the question that I asked in much the same way you was doing Brolic T when she was here by herself. So I'm asking for a clear-cut answer.
Oh, you got her back now? Brolic T came in for this fire.
And
so what's that you didn't need an answer for?
I'm about that life. The question was, once again, this is the third time now. I should tell you to go back and watch it, and then you can inbox me.
I always do. That's not an issue. I always do. I critique myself. You ain't telling. You ain't saying never a can of oil.
So do I, and it has nothing to do with being slick. I'm saying to you, I want a clear-cut answer. I said based on what you said. Okay. Now, anger is a secondary emotion, generally born out of something. Okay. Some type of hurt, some type of thing. So you had said that women are emotional. And I said that.
Now, what I said, if you don't quote me correctly. Quote me correctly.
Why do you say that? Because that's what it sounds like to us.
They are more emotional than men. That's what I said. Quote me,
if you be quiet, if you be quiet, you'll hear the other half of my question.
I'm not going to stand idly by and let you misquote me.
You will hear the other half of the question, which you did say women are more emotional.
Not misquote me. I could care less of what a question is if you're going to misquote me.
Anger.
I'll cut you off every time until you acknowledge what I say appropriately.
He's still talking, so
because I'm not going to stand for a lie.
For one, and he can't hear me either. I can't hear him at all.
So you said that women are more emotional, right?
So wait a minute.
Women are more emotional, right? Okay. So what did Tiffany say? Women are more you said women are more emotional. Now, from my perspective, hold on, I'm still talking.
Once again, you're not quoting me.
I can hear you. Be more emotional than
men.
Okay. Let me apologize because I had a phone call that muted you all. So I could see your lips moving, but I couldn't hear you based on the phone call that was coming in. So here was my question. Okay. My question was this: anger is a secondary emotion, right? Anger is based in hurt or something. Okay. And I said, if anger is a secondary emotion and y'all and women are more prone to talk about that matter, just because men hold it in, does that mean they're any less emotional?
No, it doesn't mean they're less emotional.
They just express it.
That was never the statement made. So the answer can't be given to you in the context that you're asking the question because
that's not what she's talking about.
Anita, be quiet. Men.
No, because you get it twisted.
Anita, be quiet. I'm trying to answer the young lady's question.
Hold on. Let me just say this. It never, with the whole thing was initially came out to be, we was talking about Gary and we was going into talking points and we were saying that men are not allowed that vehicle to express themselves.
Well, who said that y'all can't express your emotions?
Can I finish? That's where it all went downhill. That's when it all went downhill. Because we can't.
That rule, though.
Never mind. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah. We never gonna be able to get something out to the point of where it's gonna be completed.
Go ahead, finish your statement.
That's okay. I'm out popping popcorn, man. I'm out. Both and understanding occurs in the gray area. There's gonna be a whole lot of gray area that get turned black and white in the next few weeks. Stay tuned. Godspeed. See you next time.
Her bailing out on y'all. He out. Wow.
He's smart. I couldn't hear what everybody was saying thanks to people who won't stop calling my phone, but he was smart tonight. But I'll be ready for him Monday. No biggie.
I'm about that. This ain't nothing but a word.
Yeah.
In that order. I'm about that life. You got the right one, baby. I'll be your Huckleberry.
Oh, you talking real good, Scorpio T. You talking real good.
Now I'm talking real honest. I had, you can't. People listen. The simple fact that a man feel like he can speak for a woman, but a woman can't speak for a man, has
exactly
a whole bunch of
craziness. And then his emotional ass left.
We laid out a scenario. We laid out a particular scenario, and we were going into points of how men deal with being hurt, because Maria didn't want anything to do with Gary, and we were going into that. Brolic T came in. Oh no, you can't be like that.
But she has a give us a chance. Be bothered with him, no.
Listen, here's the simple answer to that scenario. She don't have to give him an explanation. She don't owe him nothing. I don't want to be bothered. Goodbye. Don't contact me.
And we never disputed that. We never disputed that.
And I said that. You need to be bothered with him.
Answer. You're asking for the answer to my scenario. So that's the answer to the scenario. That's it. That's all. Nothing else. I don't care why he did what he did. No one cares. The why doesn't matter. The fact is it was done. So that's it. That's all. Nothing.
No, Scorpio T. The why always matter according to you. It always matter.
It does when you're seeking what your life is for. What your life is.
Now you're trying to change it up.
How am I changing up? The why
you said the why is the most important thing.
Look, his life purpose and trying to get back with her, that's two totally different scenarios. That's unrelated.
No, what it was going to lead to? I dropped that scenario. Then I was going to talk about how men deal with breakup, that they can't take it. They can't take it. So it was going to kind of put the favor towards y'all, let you know, yeah, we are emotional and we respond differently. And sometimes we can't handle certain situations. We're going to go into that. But it never went that way. That's why I say these conversations always go a different route. No, it's too late now. You already know the drill.
It's not too late.
It's too late. I don't do that. I got work in the morning. I don't do that.
Oh, you got work. I forgot.
So that was not that was not what was listed in the scenario. We answered exactly
got to that. We never got to that point.
What I'm saying is you were asking people to speak on the scenario. So they read the scenario, they spoke on it. There was no place in there that said there's more to come.
We already know it. We already know it's more to come, right? Don't we typically know it's more to come? You should know me now, especially on these Thursday shows, whatever. You said, well, it's your first time joining, that we know it's more to come.
It is my first time joining.
It is more to come. And no one has the right answers, and nobody really knows the outcome unless the person who gave me the scenario told me this is how it panned out, David. But for the most part, I just put stuff out there on the surface and for us to talk about. That's all. I ain't mad at you.
Okay.
You know what I would say to that.
But
I ain't mad either.
Oh, you big mad. You big mad. You big mad like Gary. You big mad like Gary.
I'm amused as hell right now. Believe it or not, I'm amused as hell right now.
No, you big mad like Gary ass.
Oh no, I'm not big mad. I'm amused as hell right now.
And I'm just gonna go.
Are you big mad because Herb ran off?
And guess what that was? That was an emotional response too.
Exactly. Exactly. We're the more emotional ones, but you're the one that left.
You asked for the smoke, and when you bought the smoke, you got out the room. I have yet to see any of us walk off this panel. Yeah. I have yet to see any woman walk off this panel. But y'all swear up and down, women are more emotional. I'm just saying. I feel real vindicated right now. I don't know about them, but I feel real vindicated right now. Because he got mad and he walked off. I have yet to see any female walk off this panel. But women are more emotional than men. I'm just saying. He proved my point when his ass left.
Because I think part of it is because when somebody thinks they're always right about something, just for an example, if somebody thinks they are dead right about something, they're not going to listen to somebody else's perspective and think of it like, hey, I should open my mind a little bit and see what they are thinking, how a woman is thinking about this scenario. But if you can't do that, of course it's gonna I'm discussing. Somebody else might feel like it's an argument, but I'm discussing the difference. And I like somebody to not validate what I'm saying, but actually think outside the box from their perspective, because that's how I learn from guys and the women on the panel. Because if I never listen,
Ain't nothing wrong with having
I
an
don't
open
listen
mind.
to somebody, if I don't listen to how guys think, I might handle the situation better. I understand.
You're going in and out, Anita.
That's because StreamYard is cray-cray.
No, actually,
Yeah,
actually, StreamYard is better than the ones that I've been using. I think it might be your system, what you got going on.
No, I got my plugged in right now. I got my plug in.
Yeah, that's your
I think it's because she on her phone and not on the computer like she normally is.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm normally on my phone, but
okay.
So like I was saying, if I'm in a situation and I hear a man's perspective, I can maybe handle the situation a little better because I listen to a man's train of thought in that situation. But sometimes guys don't do that in the same respect. That's all I'm saying. I'm not arguing. I'm just having a discussion, and I'm not mad at nothing.
I'm laughing at the comment. Alicia says, somebody go find Herb. LOL.
Yeah, because if he thinks he's dead right about something, but it's a perspective issue, not a right and wrong issue, then somebody shouldn't get mad that we're giving our perspective, right?
Yeah. I didn't get mad. I just wanted to project like.
No, you didn't get mad, but
no, Dave,
you know her.
His emotions, like really.
We knew exactly what you were
leave
doing.
your emotions out of it, and he let his emotions get the background. Like, when he got the nerve to sit up here talking about women are more emotional than men. You just proved all of us right that you know we are not more emotional than you. I have yet to see a woman on this panel walk off because they mad about something a man said. But then
I guess on Monday night, Monday night show, when we come on, y'all need to just be like this, waiting for him to come on.
You know what? It's really not even about that for me. The idea that there are absolutes and then there are non-absolutes based on when a person says so just don't rock with me. So like, either there's absolutes or they're not. And nothing is a complete fit across the board. So those absolute statements that I hear, like things that, women are more emotional, men are, they're not as emotional. I found as a woman, men talk to us and they talk to us differently than they talk to each other. I found that may not be true.
Oh, Herb is back in the background. He said Herb is fine. That wasn't an emotional response. That was me tired of having to deal with disingenuous arguments.
That sounds like an emotional.
So again, another emotional
argument.
That isn't it?
I'm gonna let it go.
Even that statement is emotional. Even that statement is emotional. The simple fact that you can't open your mind and be more open-minded to what people saying is an emotional response. You can call it just because you say it's disingenuous.
It's like rule of law. When one thing that I've said, and I said this weeks ago, all of these surveys are geared towards eliciting specific responses. You cannot rely 100% on these surveys.
Yeah.
They're geared towards a specific response. Like,
and just for the record,
I've done surveys before. Like, come on now.
Just because somebody says I'm having a disingenuous moment doesn't make it true. That's your perspective, and that's you speaking from your emotions. And I'm gonna let you have that because clearly you're an emotional creature. So I'm gonna let him have it. No problem.
Very much so.
This is interesting. It's boiling up for a major. Let me read. Let me read Ronnie O's comment. He said these conversations are not discussed with an
I want to
open
address
mind.
that.
They jump on to argue,
Ron.
not even trying to understand what the other person is trying to say, even if they don't agree.
You know, that's a two-way street. If I'm speaking, you're not trying to hear what I'm saying, then that makes the whole entire conversation invalid. So it's a two-way street. I do listen and I do pay attention to what's being said. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Doesn't mean that just because I say it is right, nor just because you or anybody else says it is the only answer. So I do listen. I'm good at that, and I hear what you don't
And
say
I think
also. So,
I don't think
go
any
ahead,
one
Anita.
of us jump on here to argue. I think it's not a discussion is not an argument. Discussion
Right.
is a learning tool.
Mhm.
And I get on here with an open mind because I like to learn. I learn even from the ladies. I mean, that's what life is about. That's how I grow anyway. That's my personal growth. And it works better when people are open minded. But when they just think their perspective or opinion is right and that's the law that's written in stone by God himself, that's when we run into problems of understanding each other.
And the thing
And
is, the thing is, there's no right or wrong. Like certain
Right.
situations may fit for certain people. It's all about dialogue, how you get to this stuff. So everybody's throwing out different things based on their experience, and which is a
Right.
good thing.
It's
So
perspective.
you adapt to it, you deal with it, you put your stuff out. But to lump the whole world into this, nobody knows how the rest of the people think. Certain people, certain communities, certain areas, it all could change, and that's the beauty of
and
it all.
When you
and here's
when
the
you
flip
live on
side
the
to
other
it.
side of the world, people
Go ahead, Anita.
go ahead. Oh,
I was gonna,
I was trying to say that when I was in the military, so you meet all kinds of different walks of life from everywhere, and you live all over the world and meet so many people that have different perspectives and opinions, and they run their life in their community totally different than what it is in Niagara Falls and Western New York. It's a big eye opener.
and you know what? I really do want to hear what everyone has to say. It doesn't mean I'm going to agree with it, just like it doesn't mean they're going to agree with what I have to say. If you ask me a question, I have no problem with elaborating on that. But if I ask you a question, I want an answer. That's why I asked the question. And at the
Not
end of
just
the
that.
day, it all boils down to how's that working for you? You know what I'm saying? How is that working for you?
And,
Having all the list.
and that's a valid point. And that's counseling 101. What
Right.
are you getting the desired results you're looking for? If it's not working
Right.
for you, then you need to make change.
Absolutely.
If
And
nothing
if you're not willing
changes,
to do that, yeah.
I want to say if nothing changes, nothing changes. Right?
If
But
nothing
I mean, the one
changes,
thing you can't, the one thing that you shouldn't do is try and invalidate somebody else's perspective. You don't know what that person been through and what they've gone through, and the experiences that they have is why they respond and say the things that they say. So when somebody's trying to invalidate what somebody else is saying, like, yo, who are you to tell somebody that what they think or feel is right or wrong? You haven't walked in their shoes.
For
Ron
me
said,
personally,
Like
I
you
feel
said, there's
like
no such thing as an
go ahead.
absolute.
well, there's not too many absolutes in this world.
There's two.
We're
You're gonna
born,
live and you're gonna die.
you're gonna die, and
You're gonna be born and you're gonna die. Those are the two absolutes.
pretty much. And people try to throw taxes in there, but not everybody pay taxes and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Whatever.
look at
Yeah.
the orange dude. He didn't pay what he was worth.
Yeah.
That orange guy got away
So
with it.
we could throw that one out there, but yeah, you're born and you die. Those are absolutes. That's guaranteed to happen.
Yep.
It's guaranteed. 100%. Other stuff, it doesn't matter if it's 99.9 and that 0.1% didn't do it, then it's not an absolute. So that's what people need to understand, absolutes. So when stuff is put out there, it's put out there, but we know that it's not 100%. if we say that, well, guys do this or that, or guys that's raised by their fathers, and like you said, Latoya, some fathers, piece of shits, on drugs, don't work, barely work. And as a mother, I'm not turning over my kid to this guy. He's so irresponsible, or whatever the case is.
That like that's an absolute, because that's not an absolute. Everybody doesn't have that wherewithal, or that or in that position where they can just turn their kid over to the father. And that's all I was trying to say. Stop talking like that's an absolute, because that is not an absolute. Not every woman can take their kid and send them to the father and have them come back and insane mind.
Let's follow that train of thought. Let's follow that train of thought. Even if you took your child at the age of puberty and turned him over to his father, doesn't mean the results are going to be different. What about So it doesn't mean that it's going to be different. So when that's said, that's said from a perspective of someone that doesn't have children. And so it's a little bit different when he tries to relate that topic, because there are deadbeat moms and dads. There are men who are single parents who still need a woman to touch. So there's no answer to say that because my teenage son is doing this or doing that, and we're going to prevent things from happening. Human nature is the difference. Just, I can give you all of the knowledge in the world, but if you choose not to apply that knowledge, it's not going to work for you. So human nature, and what you might respond to one way, another person might respond to another way. I was listening to Brolic T, like, women don't sit around and do that. We don't do that. Now, I have had grown men cry in my arms, just like I've had grown women and children cry in my arms. But for the most part, we're not sitting around like, oh, girl, let's all cry together and eat ice cream. That's TV stuff.
That's what I said. That's that Hallmark shit. We don't really sit around doing that.
I don't think it was put out like that, but I think more than likely, if you're a female and you're broken down, you may have women that may support you. I highly doubt if you say, and they say, girl, get the fuck out of here, stop crying, such and such. I think it's different for a man, because you're supposed to be a man, and so we're taught, it's a different level of the way you're taught that you may not approach. If I got 4 of my homeboys and they're like, damn, oh, he broke up with his woman, what? And I break down, how do you think it's going? Do you think any of those guys gonna say, yo, hold on, let him go, he's upset, let me deal with it? I mean, I think if it's a death or something in the family, men may rally around that, but I think if it's dealing with relationships, it comes off different. I think women in their circle, they're more likely to have someone that's more supportive and understanding. Me and my friends, and in situations like that, I always was the one that like, oh, I ain't gonna kick them while they down. It's just always been in me. So I'm going to kind of listen to them and try to build them back up. But you can't expect that from many guys in certain situations. And y'all may not know that because y'all not a guy.
That's the statement.
But why can't that change though?
Wait. That's the statement, mama's boy. Where do you think they go? Who do you think they talk to and be emotional with when they can't talk to their guys? They go home to mama, because mama know how to get his mind back together. So to say, give him to his mother at a certain age and everything will be okay. Guess what you still need? Mama. So that's what happened. So to say that, listen, I've seen men, grown men, mess up something and cry because they know they messed it up and can't get it right. Does it happen a lot? No, it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So that still, again, is an invalidation of an argument, because it does happen. Just like you will see women who won't shed a tear. They'll bury their child and won't crack a tear. So it's no absolutes or no validation either way.
I don't think nobody was trying to validate their point. Just put it out there. as in research, or what people may think that more than likely women have more spaces like that they're openly able to express themselves and to be who they are compared to
But that's not
men.
true though, Dave. Women need a place of safety too. We
I mean,
find less
And
and less.
they're really
I'm saying that there are less and less.
That's who I could agree with Herb on that. There is information that says that about that all throughout, whatever, talking about men or black boys, whatever, not having that space as much, whatever. I mean, you could tie that situation and make it, again, it's not no absolute. There are some women, there are some little girls that don't have that space. For the most part, you've been taught as a boy not to show emotions like that, unless you have somebody, a parent that understands and gets it, to be able to do that. Me, I would know. Like, yeah, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset, whatever. It's the way you talk to them and then deal with the situation. But not everybody deals with that situation. That was the point being put across. We never got into the deep parts of Gary and all of that stuff because it just took off. And Ron said, some people like to reply, they don't listen to understand. They like to listen to reply.
I think that the narrative needs to change. Yes, at least in the old way of thinking. I'm going to say the old way because women are having children a lot younger. They're 15, 16, 17 now. And so, their child is now their friend. So they're okay with certain things. I think that it was taught. Matter of fact, I've heard it said out of a few people's mouths that, I thought hugging my child, my son, would make him soft. Those things. That doesn't make it right. They didn't give him a place of they didn't give him a place of safety, but they also didn't give their daughters a place of safety either. I've seen that play out.
I mean, we could go back and forth with that it depends on the isolated individual. Let me read Ron comment. He said, Dave ain't getting no emotional support in his crew. We're going to tell him to sit his sucker for love ass down somewhere and crack the bottle open. LOL. And this is true. I can't come with my boys with that shit. Never could, never will. So I'm speaking firsthand information as far as that. It ain't happening.
And we speaking firsthand. And we're speaking firsthand information as far as that, but no, that's not true. That's not true.
Who said that? Who said it wasn't true? We're not even going down that road. We got Mofo in here, but Mofo again came to the party late. She gonna say she been trying to get in here, but we about to get out here. I told you I work now. I work. I'm not unemployed on work release now. I got a full-time job again.
I mean, why you sound so emotional though, dog?
I
ain't even saying nothing yet.
I know.
That's hilarious.
You done told me what I'm gonna say. You done went through all of it. You like,
yeah, I did. KYP, know your personnel.
Look, y'all got a needle over there choking
like that because I wasn't gonna say none of that.
I was in the ER earlier.
You okay?
Well, we glad you okay.
Yeah. I woke up with I thought I had COVID, but I knew it wasn't COVID.
Girl.
I couldn't talk. I was crazy. I just got back from the ER, but I'm COVID free, COVID negative. COVID negative, flu negative. They gave me some lozenges and some Mucinex.
So you got my
I came in right when Herb had his emotional breakdown and hung up. I was like, damn, what the hell?
Oh boy. I hope Herb ready for Monday night. Oh man.
I was like, what's happening? He done dropped it. He done made an emotional speech and hung up the phone. I'm out and everything. Like a storm out. Like he stormed out. That's what he did. Like what they do? What they do to
Sorry, girl.
and then he got upset.
Herb said,
And
LOL,
he
CJ
got
running the
to
host
be
off.
mad.
Man,
Hey, Dave, for the record, I like him
man.
with red
I
hat.
was like, what
Huh?
is?
Say that again.
I said I
That's
like that.
that is
I
a
said
nice
I like
hat.
that red hat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that color.
Thank you.
I ain't get a chance to see if
I like
Herb had a hat on.
Now, he don't
ran
wear
out
hats
too
on
quick.
Thursday.
I
That's a
ain't
Monday thing.
see. Oh,
Yeah, he didn't have.
he don't do it on
So,
Thursday. Okay.
Dave,
All right. Well, I'm glad to see he
let
okay
me.
because he was going off in the comment section. I'm glad you all right, Herb. I'm glad you all right.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, funny. But no, seriously, whatever. Mofo, give your perspective right quick because we about to close this out because you know,
I think that it's as far as whether women are more emotional than men. I think that the perception has been that we are, but I think that as we get a little bit older and we understand what's happening more, like I heard it hit on that men are actually repressing emotions. It's not that you're not having the emotion, it's you're not expressing it for whatever reason. So, and because we tend to express ours more, the perception is that we are more emotional. But like I said, as we're finding out, when you talk about breakups and how men actually deal with breakups. Because, see, I done had some emotional mofos at my doorstep that I couldn't get rid of. I'm like, well, damn. And even I was like, well, I thought I was supposed to be the more emotional one. Like,
and
what's
see,
going on
and
here?
and that
Like,
and
you know what
that
I'm saying? So
and
it's
that
a
was the
perception
original
thing. I just
that
think
was
it's
the
a
original
perception thing.
premise. That was the original premise of this to talk about how guys can't really handle when women shut them down. As in this scenario, Maria said, I don't want to deal with you anymore. So that was good, but we never got to that point. Of course, but it's all good. It'll come back
Because the
around again.
distractions are very easy to succumb to, and that's on both sides. It's very, very easy. The distractions get really easy, to succumb to when nobody's just willing to say, okay, we can just, okay, here we are on common ground. Like I said, the whether who's more or not, you already know. I don't like the competition that starts to happen between men when we're supposed to be on the same team and trying to figure this thing out together. Because later on, some dude, you're gonna want us to suck on you somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And so, for me, we can't have these
Dick germs.
Let's decline to suck on you if you're pissed off
Dick
at you.
germs, yes.
Dick
I
germs.
can't have anybody,
but we
just
put it
anybody's
to a
dick germs in
competition.
my house.
Later on, we be in competition. We on the same team. And so, it gets very easy to get off in the who's right and the who's wrong of it. When the fact of the matter is that there isn't a right or wrong answer as we're seeing. Like I said, the perception is because we express it more that we are more emotional. We see as we get older and as guys get older and their baggage starts to come out, that it's not that one is more so than the other. It's just that one expresses it more so than the other at a certain point. Because after a certain age, guys get emotional as a mofo. It all comes out and they don't care. They gonna let you know, like her then, drop the mic and storm out.
I just have a question.
That's where
Who
I'm at
is
on that.
Martha? Who
What?
is Martha? Who is Martha?
Martha.
That's what this comment says something about. I ain't got my glasses on, but it looked like it says something about
Oh, it
Martha.
says Mark.
No, it says I strolled out. Don't worry, March.
No, you ain't strolled out,
Oh,
brother. When
ass
I came
whooping.
on, you was no, brother. No, brother.
Oh, Herb
I
got
done
some
seen
stuff
you
cooking for
stroll out,
y'all.
brother. No.
Got some
I
stuff
done
cooking for
seen
you.
you stroll out, brother. Please no. That was not a stroll out.
That was not a stroll out.
Oh,
When
Martha.
you leave on Mondays, that's a stroll out. Tonight was not a stroll out.
So y'all said he ran out?
That wasn't a stroll out, but it's okay.
That was a storm out.
He did a storm out, like Kevin Hart. You know what Kevin Hart did? His stand up. He was like, when you just make an argument about anything and then you storm out. Hey, yeah, he stormed out.
His little short ass.
I don't
Kevin
like,
Hart.
bitch, I don't
I'm
like
talking
when you put
about
the
Kevin
microwave on
Hart.
that high. I'm out this bitch. Yeah, he did a storm out.
So
He did a storm out.
so John from America says, I think that's one thing about guys versus girls. Guys do like to be right about things, and I think that's just part of the whole testosterone thing. It makes competition fun or competing.
Girls like to be
And
right about
Alicia
shit too,
said it
John.
was an
Look, we
emotional
just gonna
walkout.
be the girls like to be right about shit too.
Emotional walkout.
Yeah, I just said that. I just read
Hey man, we gonna leave it at Herb walked out because we about to get out of here. What I
Not
can't,
walked out.
what I
Stormed
can't
out.
tell y'all, if y'all enjoyed this, just stay tuned for Monday because I'm sure. I thought February is about love and getting to know ourselves and all that stuff. Hey, we don't know how this gonna end, but
Herb said, make sure we keep the same laugh track in March. We're gonna record it. We're gonna record it and play it back all of March.
I'm always keep a laugh, baby.
yeah. So it seems like Herb, they want all the smoke. They said go back and get whoever you want to get.
I mean,
that they're gonna be ready.
and that's emotional.
Yeah,
Now
but
you
then
want
when
the
I start
competition,
bringing it, you're like, oh, Anita.
Anita, you know I'm trying to instigate,
oh my
right?
goodness. We need to be
I
ready.
know.
Yeah. So listen, we got to go.
I said, bring it on.
We got to go. Any talking points that y'all want to bring to Monday? Well, I guess that's the closing show of the love theme. So, man, I think the emotional walkouts and all that stuff. Herb said I have the smoker ready. Who we gonna see? We gonna see. But we about to get out of here. Closing comments. So let's go.
Oh,
let's go.
So now we're gonna be punished because Herb stormed out, huh?
What? Cause he mad. Girl,
no, we're not punished. I'm just not about to be on here for 4 hours. I gotta work.
No, I'm talking about Herb.
That's not what we're talking about, Dave. We're talking about
what
correct.
He had a smoker ready
on in the comments. Right. Now we got me. Now we gotta be put up.
So what I think's gonna happen when Herb comes with the reinforcement, I think suddenly y'all are gonna say, "Oh, I couldn't come on. I got COVID, or I could link on whatever."
Whatever.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. All of us have All of us
part of
have
that act that you
profession.
be trying to put on, trying to instigate. You already know it ain't going that way.
And listen. All of us have professions. All of us we have businesses. We have jobs. So if we're not able to come on, it's just that. If I'm not on here, that means I couldn't come on. I have 2 businesses. I actually have 3 businesses. So if I don't have the time, I'm not gonna show up. But when I do, baby, I'm gonna show up. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I respect that. Any old ways. Closing comments.
There's a lot of emotions going on, man.
Don't let your emotions get the best of you.
I'm go. That's your closing comment,
Right.
Latoya.
He really let me get under his damn skin. Of all people,
that's
me.
The Scorpio in you. That's the Scorpio in you. That's what that is.
Scorpio. Herb said sounds like an excuse to me, saying you already building an excuse.
You can say whatever you want to say. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make any
I'm gonna need help.
I'm
That's still my
just letting you know that me getting hold up. Me getting my coins is just as important to him as him getting his. So you ain't gonna make me feel bad about going to get my coins if it runs into your thing. That's not my problem. That's
that's still my phrase because I always say sounds like it was you.
And you're only gonna be feeling some kind of way if his opinion matters.
Alicia said Herb cannot be talking. He's too emotional.
She done banned him from speaking. Dang. Okay, so my closing statement is the same one I always have. To thine own self be true.
Ain't it another part to that?
At this point, it's to thine own self.
Okay. Anita.
I got something different every closing point. Today, Shit, I ain't got nothing good to say. I mean, I don't have nothing intelligent to say right now. I was in the ER, but I'm still here. See,
You
I make no
might as well
excuse.
get. You might as well get
here.
used to. You're gonna
Lock-
be here. We talked about that. You're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere.
I know.
Fine.
Pretty much. Cut it out.
Yeah.
I know. No, I'm saying I was in the ER like all day and all evening, and that's not an excuse for me not to be here right now because I feel a little better.
And you know
That's what I'm
make
saying.
you know what make me feel good? That despite what you've been through, you still take the time to come on here and give your perspectives and your insights. So that means you value what we talk about. So I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
That's love. That's
I
love. That's
appreciate
love.
that.
And make sure you
That's
get some
Yeah.
rest.
Oh,
Make
you
sure
know
you
what?
rest up.
I know this would be a good time to have a good man. Shit, give me some soup and some.
Herb,
Dick
you got
germs.
off early. Make her some soup and come through. Come through. Pull up.
Nah,
Pull up.
Herb ain't gonna pull up. Herb is not gonna come through. He's too mad.
Oh man.
Herb ain't coming through.
Herb is withholding soup
Too
right
mad.
now. Herb is withholding
Oh, you know
soup.
what?
He's upset.
Her big man right now.
I mean, damn, I need some soup and some dick germs in my life right now.
Girl, you ain't gonna worry me.
No, but no, but I think we all just need a group hug.
Yeah, go
I need some soup.
You know what the truth
I
of the
mean,
matter is?
damn.
Listen, the truth of the matter is, at least I can speak for me. This whole conversation, none of it really upset me because it's not personal. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really hoping that nobody's actually taking this stuff personal like that, where it's going to, like, the point is to discuss and not to have an all-out war.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping no one is taking things super personal where they feel like, I have to go on an attack. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
this
true.
was quite entertaining. I thoroughly
Yeah.
had a good laugh.
It was very, and even my voice might have elevated, whatever, but it was just to go along with the thing, whatever. I was having fun with it. It was funny.
We know what you was doing,
Yeah.
babe.
You like to instigate.
2,000 miles away.
Yes, Dave was definitely stirring the damn pot.
Yeah, which is something he usually don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Mofo, what's good? Talk to us. What's your closing thing? Because you're not a thief.
It's the same. You damn right. It's the same one, and it applies especially in this situation. Check yourself more than you try to check anybody else, and your life will open up. Sometimes you got to admit when it's you, and that's for men and for women. We got emotion.
Did she just?
That was you. Go ahead and really help them along. But, and again, fair exchange ain't no robbery. So try not to be a thief out here in 2021. Okay. Like,
All right.
what it is.
Ron
Be
said,
as good as you get.
Ron said he's going to
Y'all
support
got
her.
me-
He makes great points most of the time.
Y'all got me
Of
all
course
on here
he's
and I
gonna
ain't even get
support.
no sleep. I ain't even got no sleep and y'all got me all on here talking and stuff.
Herb said, I'm sitting here in the background. This is comical.
It is.
Well, ask Herb if he bringing me some soup.
I agree.
Herb.
with
It
you,
is
Herb.
comical.
You're right.
Herb, make that
This is
soup, pull up
comical.
for Anita. And you already heard what she said. She's trying to get some germs. So, boy, you better get
I
on.
didn't say from Herb. Hold on.
If he bring you the soap, whatever, what the hell is the point?
Anita can still have babies. Herb is not giving Anita no dick germs. Herb has a very staunch
right.
rule. Herb has a very
That's
staunch
right.
rule that he does not
Why
Yeah.
is Herb threatening us in the
with
comments
women
talking about
that
some-
can still have babies. Nah, he don't do
Look,
that. So Anita
That's
can be
right.
why is
on the dick
I got
germ,
2 babies. One right here and one over
on
there.
all of it. So Herb need not even show up. Somebody else need to show
Look,
up.
why is he in the comments
Somebody else needs to
threatening
show
us
up.
talking about
Everybody
some
show
he
up.
who laughs last best? Yeah, he in the
See what
comments.
I'm saying? The
This what
threat,
her said in the comments.
the upset.
Huh?
See what I'm
See,
saying?
this is part of a woman right now, me, not being emotional about the sick. I ain't got to take care of me. Make organic raw honey and some lemon and
You going in and out. Listen.
oh, well,
I
fuck.
didn't hear none of
Hey,
that.
Herb said in the comments, you ain't getting no soup from him. Okay.
Missed
I
opportunity.
tell you that. Didn't I already told you what they
Listen.
want
I
from
mean-
Herb. I already told you.
Hey,
You
hold
gonna
on.
take an L on the
I don't
soup and
need
dick
soup
germs.
from
I already
Herb.
told you that.
Listen, we about
I
to get
didn't. I
up.
didn't need
Told
no
you, know
soup
your
and dick
personnel,
germs from
I told you.
Herb.
Yeah.
I know that. I know personnel. I said I didn't need no soup and dick germs from Herb. It wasn't an offer. I got a Rolodex, you know.
Oh wow. All right, people, whatever. We about to sign out here. My closing words is we never know what to expect. We never know. All I did was put out the situation with Gary, and it went from there. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens on next Thursday episode. But far as Monday, open court discussion. Herb's gonna close it out with the self-love theme. So I'm gonna be interested to see what that brings, whatever. And we're gonna keep plugging along, keep having these conversations, and we're gonna go back and forth. And that's what happened. And the object is for none of us to take it personal. We just gonna learn and grow. And even if we may not give up a certain stance on while we're on here live, I'm guaranteed when you walk away from this and you think about it, like, damn, that point they made, you're gonna think about it unless you're just not an emotional preacher at all. You don't have no emotions, but you think about it and you think about next time, like, okay, I'm gonna bring this to the table, or like I always say, inbox myself or Herb on some different talking points that you want to talk about, because this conversation is far from over, and we'll see.
I'ma just have me some ice cream and cry because Herb ain't bringing me no soup. There you go.
Pull up. I'm gonna leave it. Thank you for the taking.
See, let Herb know he shouldn't be taking everything so personal.
Pull up, Herb. We out of here.
I got
everybody have a good weekend. Stay safe. And I'll see y'all on Monday. Thank you all for the energy tonight that was brought. Oh boy, wow, y'all got me amped up.
Blow y'all some kisses. Group hug.
All right.
Bye.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you, ladies. I'll get with y'all on Monday. Peace.